It feels like we woke up in a world where technology doesn't just advance by the year, but by the months, maybe even by the week. We're seeing AI write, design, and code faster than we can even keep up. So the real question isn't if this is all going to keep accelerating, it's how in the world do we adapt to it? Okay, let's get into it. You've probably felt this yourself, right? That feeling that you're either riding this incredible wave of opportunity or you're about to be completely swallowed by a storm. And hey, if you feel even a little bit overwhelmed by just how fast AI is moving, you are definitely not alone. But let's reframe that. The real question isn't just about surviving, it's about strategy. How do we make that shift from feeling overwhelmed to feeling empowered? So over the next few minutes, we're going to tackle this head on. First, we'll put a name to this feeling, what we're calling the acceleration shock. Then we'll dig into why our own brains are kind of wired to get this stuff wrong. After that, we'll figure out how to turn AI from something that holds us back into a real springboard for growth. And finally, we'll talk about building the mindset you need, your surfboard, to actually ride this wave. All right, first up, let's really frame this feeling of whiplash we're all experiencing. This speed of change isn't just some headline. It has a real, tangible effect on all of us. You see, this acceleration is creating two totally different realities at the same time. For some people, it's an absolute goldmine, a source of unbelievable innovation and efficiency. But for others, it feels like a storm, this uncontrollable force that's threatening to just upend everything they know. And the thing is, both of these feelings are completely valid responses to the exact same thing. And it turns out there's actually a name for that feeling: technostress. Now, this isn't about being afraid of technology or new gadgets. Just think of it more like a natural warning sign, like a check engine light for your career. It's signaling that there's this growing gap between how powerful your tools are and your ability to really master them. So, why does this all feel so jarring? Well, the answer isn't really in the technology itself. It's actually in our own minds. There's this fundamental cognitive bias that's getting in our way. Yeah, the main culprit here is a little thinking trap called exponential growth bias. See, our brains, they evolved to understand progress that happens in a straight line. If we walk 2 miles today, we figure we can walk 2 miles tomorrow. Simple. But AI doesn't walk. It kind of teleports. We see it go from 2 to 4, and our brain just naturally expects 6 next. But nope, it goes to 8, then 16, then 32, and all of a sudden, we are way, way behind the curve. This quote just perfectly captures that core problem. It's like we're showing up with a little foot ruler to try and measure a rocket ship. Those first few doublings, they feel slow, they feel manageable, right up until the moment they've blasted past our wildest expectations. Okay, so we know we're biased, and we know the world is speeding up. So what now? Well, this brings us to a really critical choice, one that we each face every single time we use AI. On one side, you've got the comfort trap. This is where you just outsource all your thinking to AI. It feels super efficient at first, but it can lead to what's called cognitive debt, where your own skills and your own thinking muscles actually start to get weaker. The alternative is the growth path. This is where you use AI not just to get the answer, but to understand the answer, to actively level up your own abilities along the way. So how do you actually stay on that growth path? You do it by using this really cool learning technique called enhanced cognitive scaffolding. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like training wheels for your brain. You use AI to support you while you're learning something new, but you always have the clear goal of one day taking those wheels off for good. Let's make this really practical. Imagine you're trying to learn a new coding language. Okay, at first, you ask the AI to write the entire script for you. That's step 1, heavy support. Then, for step 2, you try writing it yourself, but you ask the AI just for hints and maybe to help you find your mistakes. And then finally, step 3, you write the code completely on your own because you've truly internalized the skill. That right there is scaffolding in action. It all comes down to this one simple, powerful idea. Let AI be the tool that launches you to brand new heights, not as support that you lean on so heavily you forget how to stand on your own 2 feet. And this brings us to our final and maybe most important section. We've got the learning method down. So now let's talk about forging the mindset. The actual surfboard you're going to need to turn this chaotic storm into a wave you can really ride.
First things first, it's so important to recognize that your personal feelings about AI, well, they're shaped by where you live and where you work. There isn't one single global attitude about this stuff. It's a really complex and varied map of ideas.
And, I mean, that difference in perception can be absolutely massive. Just take a look at this. In China, 83% of people see AI as a net positive. But then you look at the Netherlands, and it's just 36%. Research suggests there's a pattern here. In emerging economies, where new tech can help leapfrog old infrastructure, there's often way more optimism, and they adopt AI faster. So your perspective isn't universal. It's local.
So how do you build a mindset that can thrive anywhere? Let's get practical with a 3-part toolkit. First, train your eye to see the curve. I mean, actively look for those exponential patterns in the world. Second, use AI as a sparring partner. Ask it for counterpoints, not just the easy answers. And third, stay humble. Be critical of the AI's output, for sure, but also be critical of your own assumptions. Remember, healthy doubt isn't a brake, it's a steering wheel. In the end, the world is not going to slow down for any of us. But a resilient mindset isn't some shield you hide behind. It's the surfboard that lets you get out there, feel the power of that water, and actually ride the wave. So the only question left is, are you ready to catch it?